Hello, so I'm going to show you how to do some post-processing of data using Testlab Neo and one of the Matlab external processing methods. So you'll be able to pass data back and forth into Matlab and then into Neo to do further processing. So one thing right off the bat that I have to do before I do any type of processing at all is I'm going to go to Files, Add-ins, and the main add-in I need is called Process Designer. If I do not have this loaded, I will not be able to do any post-processing. Another thing I'm going to need is interactive analysis. Interactive analysis add-in has the Matlab method. So if I click that, I can hit back. And then really quickly, I just have some demo data. I've got a bunch of vibration data. And what I want to do is I want to look at this time history and I want to see where the maximum value is at any given point in time. So for example, if this is my maximum value here, does it get any higher at this point? If it doesn't, it's just going to be a straight line. And if it does, I want to know exactly where that maximum increases. So I can do that with Matlab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this data into the input basket. I can highlight and right click, add to input basket. And the input basket is where we can post-process all of our data. It's kind of just a little special folder where we set aside what we do and what we do not want to process. Now if I go to processing at the bottom, I'm in the Neo process diagram creator, and I've got my input basket, which is going to pull all that data from the input basket that I added earlier. And now what I can do is I can go and find the Matlab method. So I can either type it in, or I can go down to interactive analysis and search for it under there. And I can click and drag and I can connect it. And now my input data is going to go into this Matlab process. So a couple things I need to do right off the bat is I'm going to make this properties tab a little bit bigger so we can see it. I can rename the process whatever I want, but I'm going to leave it as Matlab. And then this command path is really important. This is the location of the Matlab executable on your computer. You cannot run the Matlab process unless you have a copy and a license of Matlab. So you need to find where that Matlab executable is. And in my case, it's located here. The working path you can leave as blank, or you can choose a working directory. You can have it time out after a certain number of seconds. So if it's taking a long time for the computer to talk with Matlab, what you can do is say at 45 seconds, I want to kill that process. And Matlab code is the most important part of this. This is where you're going to be typing in your code. So I'll minimize that one more time. If I go and click the three dots next to Matlab code, I can click on that. And I have this whole generation of code here. Most of this is Testlab Neo talking with Matlab. The only portion that you need to edit if you are trying to do some processing is there's these percent signs with a bunch of hashtags. This is the portion that you should be editing. And the really important thing that you need to enter in is data. Data is the variable that passes between Matlab and Neo. So I'm going to delete this here. And I happened to copy and paste this code earlier, so I have it on hand. So what this code is going to do is first it defines the maximum value as data at position 1. Then it looks for the length of the data and runs this if statement. So if the data is greater than this original maximum data, then it sets a new maximum. And this is going to continue for the entire time history, so we should be able to see the maximum data at any given point in time over the entire time data for the vibration test. So I'm going to click OK now that this code is in. And now what I can do is I can select Run. It's going to chat and run this process. And now that the data has been post-processed, I can either accept or reject it if I don't like the way it processed. So I'm going to go into the active analysis section. This is where the post-processed data that I just ran will always appear. And if I click one of the data values, I can scroll up and I can see this maximum value line for every single vibration data that was tested. So I like this. I want to see how this compares to the original data. I'm going to click accept. And then if I go into my original data, go to section 1, go back to the desktop, we can take a look at it. I'm going to take a look at it one at a time. So the process data is now called vibration data 1. And if I want to look at both of them at the same time, I can go to DOF ID versus function. This is a pivot table that lets me see this. I'm also going to go to DOF ID versus run so I can see which one is the process data and which one is the original data. And so let's take a look. So this is the original time trace. And this is the data with the maximum value. So the highest maximum value it got was up to here, and then you can see it didn't get any higher than that the rest of the test. If I look at these two compared to one another, the highest value it reached was here, and then it didn't get any higher the rest of the test. So it saw a maximum here, and then it saw a maximum here. And then if I look at this one, sort of the same thing. As these little peaks occurred, I'm hitting my maximum values. And then at this location, I don't get much higher than that. So that's how you can use Testlab Neo to do post-processing with Matlab. Another thing you can do that I did not show is if you like this post-processed data, you can actually add additional methods to see, what it looks like after it's done in processing. So now that I have this time data that's looking at the maximum, I can add an export box. Maybe I want to export this out for even further processing. And I can go in and export it and run a process. So hopefully that helps. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to email me.